Hey there folks, I'm here in my backyard and I hope you're all doing well. And I just want to share with you some good news. It's really exciting. So, we've had unfortunately some bad news recently, not just with the spear poles, but unfortunately I lost my needle palm and my Camarap's humus Mediterranean fan palm. Both of them sadly died. But looks like, even in these bad winters, and again, it wasn't like the worst winter, but it was worse than average winter. You have some surprises and you have some good news. Thankfully, at least for me this winter. Thankfully, even palms that look like they had some damage are showing recovery. And for me, this just shows, the incredible ability of a palm, not just how tough they are, of course, but the ability of them to not only, go through all these stresses and everything, and then make it out. And, they can look dead sometimes, they can look like they're going to die. And then you give them time and they have the incredible ability to recover. And of course, some palms, obviously, will just die. Obviously, Camarap's humus, not a hardy palm here, at least the green form. So that's just unfortunately died. But this palm, these palms have the incredible ability, once they endure stress and everything, they can push out new growth. And even after looking like they're going to be a goner, they have an incredible ability to recover. It's really remarkable. So here's my Trachycarpus wagnerianus. This palm I planted in March of last year. So it's been here in the ground for over a year now. Put out a ton of growth last season. Did awesome. Went through this winter and was still looking good. And unfortunately, just after winter, got spear pole. Now this one I did expect to recover because it was still, this leaf I think I'm gonna have to trim off, but it was still, that leaf was still green back then. And that was a few weeks ago after winter ended. Got spear pole a number of weeks ago. And I thought it would recover. Thankfully, it is showing signs of recovery, but pretty remarkable because this is a Trachycarpus wagnerianus. Some people say it's a little less hardy than fortunei. Some people say it's a little more. Let's just say it's around as hardy as Trachycarpus fortunei, but still pretty incredible. It's a young palm. I could get why I got damaged, I'm sure, obviously just from cold, but a young palm, unprotected, perhaps a little less hardy than Trachycarpus fortunei, making it through unprotected is pretty remarkable, and what is definitely a worse than average winter. So that's pretty awesome to see, and I'm really glad. The fortunei, now this thing I think would have done a lot better had it not, so it's been in the ground for 2 winters now, so this is the second winter, unlike these ones, and unfortunately, back 2 winters ago is my first palm I put in the ground, along with another one that sadly died as well. It wasn't all from cold. I transplanted it. It was unfortunately went poorly, but this palm, I didn't know any better. I planted it in like November or early December, something like that, like right before winter started. So it didn't have any time to get established. It went through that winter, made it through actually okay, but unfortunately just was sort of stunted ever since then. This thing, when I put it in the ground in March, just exploded with growth, put out a ton of new leaves that growing season. Oh, look, there's a little slug on there. That's cool. And this thing barely budged at all, put out maybe 1 or 2 leaves, but unfortunately just didn't grow at all. It was just like this when I planted it now, like a year and a half ago. So that's at least a year and a half ago, actually more. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. And I guess the point here is just plant your palms with adequate time to become established. If you're in a colder climate or a climate where they're more marginal before winter, like here, fortunei, want to plant them in spring or early summer. Don't plant them. Late summer is like the very latest ever. Don't plant them in fall or winter, I would say, unless unless you're planning on some serious protection. But you want to give them time to get established. And these things just did amazing. Take heel, really, I think maybe prove to be a more bulletproof Trachycarpus here, at least, maybe save like a horrible cold blast, but I think this might be one of the more bulletproof trackies here. Pretty remarkable. Made it through absolutely flawlessly. Fronds, no damage, of course. These fronds didn't really get damage besides that one. But of course, no spear pull. The spear is extremely firm, and it's just doing awesome. And so is the sable minor. And it's amazing. Everything. These palms all here made it through with pretty green fronds, and they're growing. It's exciting after seeing obviously like no growth at all over winter. Everything's growing. My trackies are growing. This one maybe a little bit. I don't really know, but that one's growing. This one's obviously pushing out growth. This one's growing. My coconut's opening up new fronds. Really exciting. And good to see everything growing and starting to push out new growth again. But I just want to share this with you. Sorry, that was a long introduction, I guess, but you guys can see that that is the new growth on my wagnerianus. Of course, I couldn't see this when it pulled out, when it's spear pulled, but now it's just amazing the speed at which I honestly came over, didn't expect to see anything because I just sort of forgot like how fast or slow palms grow. I just wasn't used to it. That's some serious speed. Like a few weeks ago you couldn't see anything. It's growing, which is really exciting. Obviously it's nice and warm out now, and the reason it looks brown on top is because that's where it pulled out. So that brown area on top was the that mush that you sort of see at the bottom of the spear when you pull it out. That's the top of that. So that's why a new spear, when it comes out, looks brown on top, green on the bottom. So that frond obviously might be a little mangled looking, but then it's gonna start putting out new fronds. Just awesome to see that recovery, looking awesome and pushing out new growth. That's just so exciting. It makes me so happy to see after seeing this unfortunate, you know, obviously events with the some of my other palms, my other more less hardy palms than my needle palms, sadly. This is just awesome to see, pushing out new growth. So that is on the road to recovery. Next winter, again, I'm not going to plan on protecting it from the start, but I'm going to, you know, even if it's like as bad as this winter, I think I will. I'm probably going to put a cover over it below 15 Fahrenheit is my guess. I just want to be safe. You know what? Why not protect them when they're young? Put them to the test when they're a little bit more, have a little more growth. I'd rather be safe than sorry, and I've said that a lot, and I haven't exactly held up to that. I just sort of want to put them to the test this winter. Made it through fine. Again, it's recovering now, but I'd still rather be safe than sorry. But still pretty cool, and gives you some good data, sort of, I guess, where they fall hardiness-wise, at least when they're young. Because, you know, we are in like a perfect climate for sort of determining how hardy trackies are, because they are still can be killed in a bad winter here and do great in most winters here. So sort of gives you some good data. Take heel, doing awesome. Nothing, no damage at all on that. This palm here, I was putting some, I've been, as well as this one, I've been putting some hydrogen peroxide on it, as you should. You want to put hydrogen peroxide or copper fungicide. I didn't have any copper fungicides, so I would use hydrogen peroxide, but you want to put it down that growth cavity down there, because when a palm gets spear pull, that cavity down there can, you know, it's got bacteria in it, and it can create like a buildup, like a cesspool of bacteria, and it can just, that rot will sort of fester and turn into like a bacterial issue, and it obviously can end up killing any live growth that's still down there. So you want to immediately start putting antibacterial, you know, hydrogen peroxide, copper fungicide are the two you want to start putting down there. And yeah, seriously, want to kill that bacterial infection. And then obviously if they can take like weeks or months, you know, after like a month or something, if they're not putting out new growth, then you can think about cutting the trunk up, which is what I did to find out that my palms are dead, sadly. So this one, you know, it's smaller, so I wouldn't expect it to put out as much growth as that one. But, you know, it wasn't, you know, obviously isn't showing a spear right now. So I was thinking, you know, I might just have to cut it open. But if you look really closely, it's kind of hard to see, but, oh God, am I able to? Yeah, there we go. Looks like, God, that's really hard to see, but I'll try zooming in and then showing you guys. Oh gosh, wait, 1 second. I don't want to like try to damage this at all, but I don't know if you guys can see that. That's really hard to see. But looks like there might be a little bit of a spear in there. I can't tell if that's just mush, but it looks like it's still firm. So that is exciting. Hopefully this one will recover too. Someone said it, you know, most people said they'll recover. Some people said like 50-50. I was sort of thinking maybe a little more on the 50-50 side with this one. Good chance of recovery though. So let's see. I'm gonna give it another week, and if it doesn't start to have visible growth, then maybe I'll think about cutting the trunk through. You want to cut just below the growth there. You don't want to cut too low, and you want to cut just to where you start to see live tissue, but I'm not gonna do that yet because it looks like it might actually end up sending out a spear on its own. So that's very exciting news. Trackies, at least this one, clearly recovering, this one hopefully, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. Just want to share that with you. And yeah, some good news here in the garden, which you know, it seems like we've had a bit of bad news with some of my palms obviously, but before this winter I didn't know as much, and I obviously learned a lot myself, just experimenting. People have taught me a lot, told me what I should have done, what I you know, things that maybe I could have done better, and obviously to help my palms through. I learned a lot this winter, and unfortunately the losses are sad, but the recoveries are, you know, incredibly exciting. I'm good to see, and gives me some good data, and it's teaching me some good lessons about what I need to do for upcoming winters. You know, it's it's a labor of love, I guess, in these colder climates, but it's totally worth it. And I think it's the most amazing hobby. I love palm growing, and hardy palm growing is really cool. Obviously I'd rather, you know, I'd rather be in a warm climate, but I kind of think it's cool to get my palm growing started in a colder climate, and then maybe move to a warmer climate at some point. I kind of think that's cool, because it's sort of, I have to learn to, you know, protection and all sorts of things about their survival just to get them through the winters here. But, you know, some of these palms do fine unprotected, some of them don't, like Camerops humilis. So, you know, you just gotta learn about that, and speak to others, research, and all sorts of stuff. So take care, folks. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Please let me know your thoughts. I should have said that earlier, but I want to hear whatever you guys have to say. Your thoughts about these palms, what, you know, for going forward, what to do with them. Yeah, love to hear your guys' thoughts. Take care. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a good one, folks.